You're not clicked on
Okay, sorry, everybody. We're back in business, right? You can see that. Anybody? Can you see
it. Yes.
the
I
Okay.
can
Okay,
see.
cool. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so you're gonna click through this. You can go on to the next slide, Kirsty. Great. So, I want you to finish this process, whether that's here or you reach out to me to work on planning, to set goals. I want all of you to have actionable goals by the time you finish this evolution.
Okay.
Next slide, please, Christy. Okay. Why do we goal set? Because nothing happens by accident. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'll give you all the cliches. But top producers plan intentionally. Results follow systems, not motivation. I tell you one thing. Every single day, I would rather be doing something else.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Because I like to fish, I like to ski, but you know what? I do what I have to according to my plan. So do that. Follow your system, not your motivation. There's going to be plenty of days when you don't feel like getting out of bed and doing this, but you're not going to sell real estate from your couch. Clarity is the secret. Clarity reduces stress. Clarity reduces burnout. If you are walking in your purpose, if your intentions match your values and match your plan, then you are going to be stress-free, or as stress-free as possible. Skip ahead. Sorry about the font there. Common goal setting mistakes that we have all made is vague or unrealistic goals. We had an agent one year. She did, I think she did 6 million, which was a very respectable amount of business. It was potentially a life-changing amount of income for her if she could sustain that. But she set a goal the following year. She wanted to do 20 million. And we're like, sweetie, 20 million is a lot. Can you do 20 million? She's like, I'm setting a goal for 20 million. We'll talk more about that. Not having a written plan. You know, you're sitting around on New Year's Day watching bowl games and kind of thinking about what kind of plan or what kind of goal you want to have. And you have everything really well fleshed out in your head, but you don't write it down. By Valentine's Day, you have, hello.
Hi, sorry.
No problem. You have forgotten what goal you set for yourself. So I think that having it written down is uber important. You have to write it down. I like the visual aspects of it. If you write it down, you can then do your vision board if that is helpful to you. Brittany has a
You want it?
has a written goal sheet, like with a thermometer and check boxes and everything. I think that's super important. I have a whiteboard on my board at home. It's 4x6, and it's divided into quadrants. It has my total production goal up on the top. It has above the seller quadrant, it has the number of listings. Under the buyer quadrant, it has the number of buyers. It has a tracking quadrant. And yes, you can do this in an app, or you could do it on Excel. I just like doing it with dry erase markers. It's at the end of the day, whenever I have a closing and I get to go change the numbers, it makes me feel good. You know, I have my pending business. I have all the deals that are pending. I have the sale price. I have the money that I expect to bring home from that enterprise. I have pending cash, pending volume, closed cash, and then closed and pending volume. And then I also have averages. number of sales, my cash per close, and then my average sold price for the year. I track all of that all the time. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, I have all my statistics written from time I got back into selling real estate. So after, let's see, that was 2016, 2017. I have all of those stats right there. I should go back and do it from the beginning so I can see that graph. But I think it's important to have those written goals and then track those results. Next, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Could you go back one? I skipped one. No tracking or accountability. So the tracking is my personal accountability. I think it's important also to have somebody else to keep you accountable. But if you don't feel comfortable sharing that with somebody else, being a real hard ass on yourself is the next best thing. In fact, I'm probably harder on myself than anybody else might be. Some people have asked me, why do you do this? Go ahead. Income is not math, or income is math. It's not luck. A lot of people treat it as luck. You know, there's plenty of top performers out there, or performers at any level. What's your goal? Oh, I don't really set a goal. I just put my head down and go to work. That might be fine for somebody, but I think not for most people. There are people out there that I will put into the category as force of nature. That works for the force of nature. That works for the human tornado. And that's what they really are. They're just going around at full speed with no real direction, doing everything. And you know what else they are? Is off the charts stressful to themselves and everyone around them, because they don't have any intention, purpose, direction. Behavior creates outcome. Predictable outcomes, and consistency beats intensity.
That's good.
You hear about that with the power of compounding. If I put $1 a day into a bank account for my children, they're going to be able to retire far earlier than if they wait and put $1,000, a day in. Maybe not $1,000 a day, but you get the point. You put in that $1 a day when they're 1, 2, 3 until they're 18. Really, they don't have to save any money beyond that, and it winds up being like $20,000 that they've invested. By the time they get to retirement, they're a multimillionaire. You've seen that statistic all over the place, I'm sure. Whereas if they wait until they're my age and start putting money away, they have to put away $10,000 a month until they retire, and then gonna break even at that same point. So that consistency in saving beats the intensity in saving, and that's that same rule across all forces in nature, like erosion. Next one, please. So here's a 6-step goal setting process I want you to commit to. It's identify your why. What is your purpose in doing this, in going to work, in trying to make money, in trying to, run your own business? Why are you doing this rather than working at Sheets? Let's make this interactive. Why are you in real estate, Christine?
To make money, right? To support my family.
Yes. Anybody else?
Freedom of my schedule.
Freedom. Yeah, freedom of your schedule. How about control?
Control of my schedule.
Control.
It's not a 9 to 5. I get
Right.
to work when I get to work when I allocate the time outside of emergencies and dumpster fires.
I'm in this because it is a true meritocracy. You get out of it what you deserve to get out of it. If you kick ass, then you get rewarded for it. If you suck, okay. This business is fair. I don't care. Yes, are there unfair outcomes on a micro level? Yeah. But on the macro level, on a big scale, this is fair. You get out of it what you put into it every single day. So you can create professional level income with a high school diploma. You can come out making more than plastic surgeons in this business. That is nuts to me. That's great. It's fantastic. And all you have to do is know your shit and talk to people. So identify why you're doing this. What is your goal? So we did the why are you in real estate, but what is your why you want to hit that goal? Me, I want to retire with some security while I still have some life left to live. I want to create some legacy. I want to leave something for my children so that they can do what they choose to do in a meaningful way. If my daughter's good in the arts, I want her to be able to pursue the arts and not have to go out and find something to do to pay the bills. Set SMART goals. We're going to talk about what SMART goals are here in a second. You have to believe in your goal. If you don't believe it, you can't achieve it. If you think it's beyond your reach, you're not going to get there. If you don't think that you belong in that room, you are going to stick out like a sore thumb and no one's going to give you the time of day. You need to write down and visualize those goals. That goes hand in hand with believing the goal. You need to be able to believe it. You need to be able to see it in your mind's eye, what you're doing. And every day I can see myself walking out onto the balcony of a beach house, overlooking some kind of water with a cup of coffee.
Mhm.
Share that, write it down, whatever, for that accountability tracking, and then track your progress. One of my mentor, he was one of my buddies in the struggle. He was a co-manager with me. We both managed offices for the same company. And he had this great saying. He says, things that are measured tend to improve. And I believe that wholly. Next one, please. So identify your why, whether that's income goals, time freedom, like Mike was talking about, family and lifestyle priorities, like I was alluding to, or professional fulfillment. That's it. You know what? I've got goals in every one of those
Me too.
categories.
That's what I was thinking.
Every one of those categories. I know what my income goal is that will allow me to optimize my family and lifestyle priorities. And my professional fulfillment is something that's actually totally separate from the income goals, because I could hit those income goals without doing what I'm doing today, and probably a good bit easier than, we do this because it's kind of a drive. It's a calling or a sickness or something like that.
Obsession.
And that's professional fulfillment. That might be checking that mentorship box. That might be making somebody eat their words, right? Best revenge is living well. I think that goes into that professional fulfillment thing. Time freedom. I've been making commitment to take my kids skiing every weekend. That's one of those things. You must believe the goal is possible. Anybody have a goal in their mind right now?
Volume or just all around?
Any goal.
I want to get the same sales volume I had this past year, but I want to do it in 20 hours less a week this year.
Can that be done?
Yes.
How are you gonna do that?
Taking all of my quantifiable data from last year and converting that back over to an efficiency plan for this year.
Maximizing efficiencies. Yeah, I believe that's possible too. Belief fuels consistency. If you know you can do it, you can do it. And the systems support that belief, just like what Mike was talking about. He's going to take data that he's accumulated from his past experience, most recent experience, the past year, And he's gonna apply that for maximum effort or maximum effect. So that belief drives your behavior. If you believe that you're gonna be able to set an appointment today, you're gonna have a lot less problem making the calls that are required to set that appointment. If you have an appointment today, if your goal is to write a contract today and you have an appointment today, there's a very real possibility that that appointment could turn into that contract. And that contract is what's required to get to that closing, right? So it has to start with that closing in mind, with that showing to facilitate it, with the, with that contract to make that possible, with the showing to make that possible, with the phone call required to set that appointment, with the database required to make the phone call. So you have to have that belief in mind to drive that behavior of picking up the phone and making that phone call, or one step back, organizing the contacts that you have into your database. Can you start off at the stop sign in second or third gear? Yes, you can. Is it a lot easier when you start off in first? Yes, it is. So start on that first level with organizing the leads, the contacts, the experiences that you have access to. Now start with that. Use that as, that phone call as your target. And then that phone call, you're targeting that appointment. And from that appointment, you're targeting that contract. And from that contract, you're targeting that closing. It works both ways. So work it backwards and forwards. So write that down. Written goals increase achievement. I have a couple of files on my desktop. One of them is goals. The other one is kind of hippie affirmations. Things that I say to myself. Gosh darn it, you are good enough. Not quite that cheesy, but write those things down. Track them. You should track them more than once a year. You should be doing them weekly, monthly, quarterly. Clarity has come up in our conversations as a partnership a lot. And I think that clarity is what makes us effective and probably different than a lot of our competitors. We know exactly what we want to achieve. And whenever we are, the more clarity we have in our goals and our mission, then the more effective we are in attaining that. So I think if you are more clear in your written goals, it is much easier to drill down on them. And that visualization reinforces that commitment. Who might help you with this accountability? Broker or mentor check-ins. Everyone in this room has a broker or a mentor, or both. You may also have an accountability partner. Parent, a spouse, a buddy in the struggle, somebody else who is fighting the same fight as you. Hey, how you doing this month? Kind of sucking. Well, get out there and do it. She and I do that all the time. Mainly by baiting each other.
Yes. I like to know, and Justin did this with me back at our old brokerage too. I would always say to him, "Hey, are you busy?" Right? He's top producer. I'm a top producer. He was like, "I am swamped. Absolutely swamped." He had nothing going on. That was just his common answer to that, right?
Yeah.
That's how our relationship started. I was like, "That's BS. You can't be busy." And it just went back and
I'm
forth.
probably gonna write 5 million this week. Not sure. But I'm trying to do that to drive her.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to drive myself. Maybe I'm also trying to get in her head. But that's what it's about. And that's what accountability partners do for each other. They drive each other further, faster, harder, to higher steps. CRM and scorecards. I told you about my scorecard, my 4x8 dry erase board. Oh my God, if somebody wanted to screw with me, they would come in there with some Expo eraser fluid and knock that thing down. I do have it written, but that would devastate me. It's that important to me, and it should be that important to you, as is your CRM. We talked about start with that goal in mind. That that clarity. You have to have the you have to have the organization to make it easy for you to do the next step. Something I've done for years and I recommend you do to yourself is try to trick your future self into doing the right thing. Make it easier for you to do what you're supposed to do than not. Before I go to bed, I'll put out my clothes for the next day. That way I don't have to, especially if it's a big day. I'll pack my lunch, the gym bag's ready to go. I wake up in the morning. I'm not wasting energy on stupid shit. I'm out. Yes, is that a little anal? Yeah, but I know tonight I don't have any productive energy to do anything else but stupid menial tasks. So I'm gonna do those stupid menial tasks now, so I don't have to waste my brains, my bandwidth on them tomorrow morning. Okay, tracking creates awareness. You cannot improve what you do not track. It's another way of what I was saying. Things that are measured tend to improve. You need to go back and do your weekly reviews to keep you on track. Adjust now before it's too late. If you make a 1-degree adjustment now, it'll account for a 30-degree adjustment later in direction. It's easier to make that extra 5 phone calls today than to get in a rut and have to make an extra 50 phone calls next Monday. So make those adjustments early, not late. Next.
Oh, sorry.
So, do you do SMART goals with the people? Two people.
We have framed it up as the 5 W's.
Who, what, where, when, and why?
Who, what, why, when, where.
Yeah.
But yes, putting goals on, setting goals that have some sort of quantifiable outreach. So making sure that your goal isn't just butterflies and unicorns.
Right.
It's an actual thing that you're shooting for.
Okay, so SMART is specific. That is the who, what, where, why, when, however, whoever.
Just keep saying W's. It's fine.
That's the 5 W's. Specificity, right? I want to sell more real estate, doesn't cut it. Brittany has 5.114 or something like that on there. That is specific. It doesn't have to be monetary. It might be Mike's goal. I want to do the same amount of business in 20 hours less per week. Totally attainable. I want to hit the gym 175 times this year. How do I arrive at that? Take 2 weeks off, 4 days a week. 4 times 50 is 200. I know I'm going to get sick or have meetings, so we're going to make it 175. That is my specific goal. Is that measurable? Yes. Is 5.114 measurable? Is 20 hours measurable? Absolutely. You can track these things. Is it achievable? Yeah. All I have to do is get my ass out of bed and go to the gym. All he has to do is make it happen. All she has to do is make it happen. Those are achievable. If he said, I want to sell the same amount of real estate in only 4 hours a week, I'd be like, man, really? If she said, I want to sell 50 million, I'm like, you are so sweet.
Cute.
Yeah, that's so cute. Bless your heart. But I firmly believe that you can do that and that you can do that. Is it relevant and realistic? What I mean by relevant and realistic. Well, first of all, the attainable and achievable. Sorry, I had a note on that I skipped. Do you have the resources to achieve that goal? Because sometimes we just don't have the resources to do that. Like, Can a person sell $50 million in real estate? Yes. What resources do you need to do that? You need a buyer's agent, you need a listing agent, you need a admin, you need about $7,500 in ad spend on Zillow every month. You know, those are resources. Is it realistic? Yeah, absolutely. And are they time bound? Yes.
Can I throw something on there?
Yes, please, by all means. I want this to be interactive.
Time bound. Not just saying, I want to have everything done, I want to do X amount of transactions per month, or I want to have this completed by June. Get very specific with yourself. By my birthday is June 12th. I have very specific places of where I want to be by June 12th. The more specific you are with the goal, the easier it's going to be to make yourself accountable.
And yes, thank you very much. Being specific, measurable, all of that. We're going to talk a little bit about those benchmarks throughout the year whenever we get into our lead, our lag, and our KPIs. Next, please. Measurable goals, amount of closings, gross commission income, appointments, listings taken. You can have sub goals, right? Listings taken and appointments lead to closings, which leads to gross commission income. You can be specific. I have those on my tracking board. I have a total sales volume because of the gross commission income that I want to make, and then I have that broken down into the amount of listings and buyers that I want to take. I want to focus on listings. There's a few buyers I'll take. I'll work with almost any seller. You got to be special for me to represent you as a buyer, because I don't have time for that craziness. Next, please. These goals you want to base on prior performance. If you don't have prior performance, well, then we're just going to start with a baseline. Supported by systems. You can't just say, I want to sell 30 homes this year without having some sort of plan to get there. So how are you doubling your production this year, Britt? How do you hope to achieve that? Are you just wishing?
No,
Okay.
so I broke it down like quarterly, like, so I know. Like I aim high because some fall apart.
You aim high because some fall apart, right? We're falling back into that. Yep.
So if I hit 1.225 a quarter, I'll hit that goal.
So for the people at home, she wants to hit 1.225 per quarter in closed volume.
Which,
How are you getting to that 1.225? That's a certain amount of transactions.
yeah, so in my market, my average volume per transaction has been consistent over the last couple of years because it's consistent in the market.
Right.
So I figured how many transactions I did last year, what my volume per transaction was,
Okay.
and then calculated it backward that way.
Okay. So for everybody at home, we'll talk about this a little bit further. I think I have a slide based on this. And if not, I'll paint you a word picture. But how are you getting to those closed deals? You have a number of appointments that you hope to set.
I didn't break it down that small, but you can. I know for me, it's getting back to the basics. So this year I'm focusing more on reaching out to people more consistently.
That's what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
you're doing more outreach to get to more appointments, get to more deals.
Yes.
Okay. So does that mean that you said you're doing more outreach? What does that look like? Is that more open houses? Is that more phone calls? Is that more pop-bys?
It's definitely more reaching outside of my comfort zone. So I've done Popeyes and social events. I'm very involved in my community with volunteer work, but it's not enough. That's what got me as far as I got last year. So I have to reach outside of my comfort zone and start doing things like not being afraid of cold calling. Getting back to the more no's I get, the closer I am to a yes theory. I think that that's really important. So I'm getting back to some of the basics that I've dropped off because it was like, oh, well, I don't want to deal with that. I'm gonna deal with that and I'm gonna specialize in that.
Here's something that I would recommend for you to be a little bit more pointed in your approach. Go back and look at where all of your clients came from in the past 2 years.
I do that,
Okay,
yes.
where did they come from?
Facebook and community.
Facebook and community. That's where you go. I would say for me to make, if I wanted to double my business, cold calls wouldn't be there. It would just wouldn't be the way to get me there. Some people were great at cold calls.
Occupational PTSD.
Yeah, he's great at it. Me, it would just be like, if I doubled my cold call rate, it would just be twice as many no's. Because when I get somebody on the phone, I'm a moron. It's not compelling at all. I have to actually meet them in a public setting. For me, it's the follow-up. It's the warm calls that I need to do. So that would be the system, is actually collecting the cards at the social events. Based on my prior performance, I know that that's what I need to focus on. I'm good at working a room, those social events. I need to collect those cards. I need to go to number 2, the big green check mark, support it with systems. I need to get those people into the system. And if it doesn't impel action, it's not a system, it's just a trash can. So you need to be systematic in that follow-up. You need to actually follow up with those people. Hey, I saw you at Bolarama. That was awesome. And then whatever you talked about at Bolarama. Now, with your goals, is your goal a stretch goal? To
What is-
double your business?
No,
It's not a stretch?
I don't think it is for me.
Okay,
I've thought about that
okay.
because with having all of my children in school now, I've been able to focus more time and more energy on what matters.
I think it's a stretch. I mean, to double your business by most metrics, that's a stretch. But is it realistic?
Yes,
Yes.
okay.
For you to say, I'm gonna increase my business by 25%, I don't think that's a stretch. Because you have twice as much time on your hands. I think doubling, that's a stretch, but is it realistic? Yes. For you, it is. Excellent.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Since it is interactive. So I've never set a goal, a volume. I never have. I've never said like, I want to do 5 or 7 or 10. I have always measured it by my activities. I set goals for my weekly activities, and that's how I keep myself in check. And I can see the weeks that I'm not performing, right? So it's always I'm always reevaluating what I'm doing.
That's that consistency beats intensity
Yes.
approach.
And because I know the more I beef up my intentions, that I know that sales come from that. So instead of focusing on the sales, I just make sure I nail my activities during the week.
So when it comes to the relevant or realistic goals, are they aligned with your life? I could set a goal, like a goal that is not relevant would be like my New Year's resolution to eat more fried chicken. Is it attainable? Absolutely. Is it realistic? Totally. Is it relevant? Not at all. Make sure it's aligned with your life and your business goals here. Does it match your experience level? Does it support your long-term growth?
Can I caveat on that?
Yeah, please.
Match your experience level does not mean if you're a new to business agent, you're screwed.
No,
Or if you're struggling right now, that you're out of options. One of the things that we can do as far as tracking everything via a system, and again, try not to have R&R PTSD reactions. You have to go in, whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, iVRE Connect, whatever it is, go in and monitor, keep track of where you're spending your energy. Christy was just talking about, she knows how many activities she needs to perform on a weekly basis because she monitors and tracks where she gets her ROI from. So when you're tracking these things, make sure that you're tracking. I did 16 open houses last month. I attended 4 events. Out of the 16 open houses, I pulled 0 leads, but I went to 4 events like the trade show or the farm show in Harrisburg, and I wound up signing 2 buyer agencies. So my skill set means I should probably be working community events, not just going out and arbitrarily doing open houses. But again, you don't know that. You don't know what your skill sets are until you start tracking those things. And that's how we prevent ourselves from just exerting energy into the ether. It's by actually tracking what we're doing and actually annotating what the ROI is. Actually going through, and after you get done with a prospecting event, annotate that in your systems. Use your systems of record, because there's things that I guarantee you think you're successful at that you're just doing okay at, and then there's other things that you don't realize are actually giving you a lot more for your business on the back end. There could be tertiary tasks that you don't really consider to be a great source of strength for you, but that's because your opinion is affecting your actual ROI. So use the systems to track your time and energy so that when you go to FY26 and you're looking at everything from 20 or 27, you're looking at everything from 26, you can pull up raw numbers and know I have to talk to 50 people in order to get 1 buyer agency agreement signed. And in order to increase my efficiency, I should probably work on skill sets that have me talking to people so that I can talk to 25 people to get a buyer agency signed. So it's not just,
if you're talking with 25 people that are already in your sphere of influence, it's going to be a much higher conversion rate than if you're talking to people at the truck stop.
yes.
What, can you go back one? Matches your experience level. Mike's right. Try everything. Get rid of the stuff you suck at. I don't advocate much for trying really hard to get good at cold calls if you really hate cold calls and you're really bad at them. Especially if you're really good at working a room face to face. Working working a baseball game because your kid's in it and you have a high level of experience in those social settings. I would say lean into those rather than defeat yourself on the daily making those phone calls. If you have a glimmer of hope, then go ahead and lean into them a little bit more. But also matching your experience level. Don't set a goal this year that I want to sell $5 million in commercial real estate if you've never done any commercial real estate. That's not realistic. And you're possibly wasting energy on something that's not going to pay you. If you invested that same amount of energy into your residential business, probably sell 15 homes rather than sell, 3 or 5, start 3 or 5 commercial deals that'll take 2 years to close. So that's match your experience level also means master this lane before you divert too much. Next one.
That also goes to about in real estate, master the foundation of real estate before you start to put your own spin on it. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Find out what other successful realtors do and master that first before you're out doing other things.
My first 3 years, I was driving everywhere from Juniata County to the Maryland line selling properties before I figured out I was really good at selling properties in downtown Carlisle. So
It's so much closer.
it's so much closer. And I was good at it because I was actually interested in those properties. Time-bound goals. You got your annual goals, your quarterly benchmarks, your monthly and your weekly targets. Like Christy said, she tracks this stuff on the daily, weekly.
Yep.
Next. For example, closing 18 transactions. How do I get there? I need to have 3 appointments a week. And I want to attain $100,000 in income. You can close 18 deals, you're probably getting a lot more than $100,000 in income. But those are what goals look like. Measuring the right metrics. Not all numbers are equal. Some measure results, some measure behavior. Next. For example, lag measures. What's lag mean?
When you're falling behind?
Well, it's behind. It's after the effort.
Okay.
You get the closings, you get the GCI, you get the commission income, you get the units sold. That's measuring results, right? That's not measuring effort. If you're just measuring the results without measuring the effort, this is going to suffer big time. Next one. The one that you should be measuring is your
There's somebody waiting.
oh, okay. To attain those goals, to get those measurable lag measures, you need to be focusing on the lead measures. What's lead? Those are the ones at the beginning. The calls and the conversations, the appointment set, the buyer list, the buyer and listing consultations. We need to focus on this stuff for the other stuff to even enter the conversation, right? If you don't have a call, you're not going to set an appointment. If you don't set an appointment, you're not going to get the consultation. If you don't get the consultation, you're not going to get the contract or the closing. And this has a lot to do with Mike Rossi's time management system, right?
Yeah.
That is measuring those lead measures. It also puts on the lag measures. The green is the lag. Next, please. So these key performance indicators show your business health and they guide your daily decisions. Next, please. So some sample KPIs or key performance indicators. This is fancy corporate talk. But that would be your appointments per week. Your conversion rates. How do you measure a conversion rate? For beginners, don't worry about that yet. Well, that would be how many conversations you have to set an appointment. That's your conversion rate. That's what Mike was talking about. I need to shake 50 hands before I get a pen in one of them to write a contract. Listings taken per month or per quarter or per year as you're starting out. And then your contracts written. You guys are going to be focusing a lot, and I don't want to pigeonhole you, but as a beginning agent, you may be focusing on buyers more than listings, unless you have access to those. So, Hoop Star 7, I think that's John. He's looking to get in there. So the lead measures drive your lag results. KPIs monitor your progress, and the goals, your quarterly goals, are what keep you on track. Next, please.
I'm already there.
Oh, thanks. So your income goal, you should be dividing by your average commission. For you, we would use an average commission for the office. And if you want to know what that is, for planning purposes, our average sale price this year was $275,000. Oh, isn't that nuts? Divided by 2.75%. That's a $7,000 commission. I would figure on half of that. For a beginning agent, you'll start about half of the average, I'd say.
Mhm.
Not always, but for figuring, That's a good place to start as a baseline.
60%.
60? Okay, has that been tracked?
Well.
No, that's what it
25
is.
60s, that would be 60.
Well, um. And then your transactions over 12 months, how many transactions did you do last year?
Anyone?
Yeah.
14.
14. Me too.
I know, I love,
You looked,
I look at every.
Mind?
please.
Let's do the mental health pitch.
Yeah.
On this slide. This is really important. Don't forget that you have to protect your mental health while you're doing this job, right? Because otherwise you're gonna burn out very quickly. And this is a great way for you to be able to kind of set up a boundary for yourself right out the gate. If we know that the average house sale is 275,000 and that at 2.75, it's gonna translate to roughly $7,000. 7 times 12 is how much? 84,000.
Mhm.
Right? So if we're looking at that type of income and we know that we want to be, you want to hit 6 figures in income, don't sit here and think that you need to perform 20 transactions over the next year. Don't be chasing a transaction. Don't be chasing a sales volume. Get specific with your goals so that you're not burning yourself out. Sales volume is not the only metric of being successful. There's a lot of other ways. So if you're sitting here and doing just simple math equations like this, and we're looking at 84,000 a year coming off of just 12 transactions, that's one a month. That means if you do 2 to 3 more transactions, you're going to hit that mark that you wanted to be at. So if you're setting that goal realistically and you're doing this type of breakdown, you're going to protect your mental health and you're not going to burn out.
Not only that, I would much rather you compare yourself to yourself, right? You're competing against a weaker version of you from last year. You're aspiring to be the best possible version of yourself. That's much better than comparing yourself to a top producer in the office. You are not traveling the same path. Your journey is not their journey is not yours. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare yourself to Brittany Snyder out of the York office, you are going to feel like shit the rest of your life. I do.
Tell what, Chiso?
You done $23 million in real estate last year.
23.
That's crazy. I have no illusions. I don't have that kind of time or drive to do that. I don't have that internal fire to go out and sell real estate. I don't like people that much. So don't compare yourself to them. Set your own goal based on what you want to do for you and your family, and then go after that. Don't go after what somebody else has. That's a totally different conversation. So define your income goal. Like Mike said, calculate the transactions needed, and then based on your conversion rate that you've been tracking for the past 18 months, you identify your weekly lead measures that you need to attain that. Now, if I'm talking to somebody that was referred to me, I'm at a point in my life where I'm pretty lazy when it comes to sales. Sorry to say it. I'm admitting it. Most of my business is referral business. When I was starting out and hustling, my conversion rate was probably 10%. 1 out of 10 people that I talked to, I was getting the deal. Now my conversion rate's probably 90%. If I talk to 10 people, I'm getting 9 deals out of it. Do you think that's about the same?
Agree.
If you're doing the business now, I mean, if you talk to somebody, you're closing the deal. I very seldom compete anymore because of the relationships that I've built over 17, 18 years. And that's your goal. It's not to hustle forever. You're building a foundation now so that you can get to a place where your business is predictable and manageable and enjoyable. And you can do that if you do it right.
But at the same time, you also want to get at bats with people you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, so like I compete a lot. I mean, a considerable amount, but it's because of my reviews.
And you've got a different thing that I do. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
going after new business.
No, no, but like I have learned that if I just keep up with my reviews, I'm always going to get maybe at least 2 or 3 at bats a year, maybe 5, 6, 7, I don't know, of listing appointments of people I totally don't know. And so I'm aware of that, and I got to make sure that I'm doing other things that constantly put me out there too.
But that's another story. So define your income goal, break that down based on your average. So if I want to make $100,000 and I know that I'm getting $7,000 per transaction, I know I need to close 14 deals, and it takes me 5 interactions to get that at bat. What's that 14 times 5?
Who knows?
60?
70.
70,
70.
thank you. So what's 70, right? So that means I have to be 70, take 2 weeks off for vacation, 70 divided by 50. You need to go on 3 appointments every 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Always round up. Or 5, 5 a month, something like that. So the first 90 days matter most. Why? How long does it take to build a habit? 3 weeks. You do something every day for 3 weeks. It'll feel funky when you don't do it on the first day of the 4th week. 3 weeks. But if you can start doing it for the first 90 days, 90 days is how long it takes to see results. And once you start seeing results, it's going to become automagic for you. Like everybody hates open houses until they get a client from one. You start making money at an open house. Now open houses are fun. So focus on that Q1 execution. Build those habits early. And schedule that accountability now. If you don't have somebody to keep your feet to the fire, find someone. You got plenty of people in the same boat as you. I don't care what your experience level is in this organization. There's somebody about at the same level. And if it's not at the same level, that's okay. Find somebody that you gravitate to. You've got a partner in the business.
do.
You've got a mentor who you feel close with. You have an accountability partner. Who are you going to use? Okay. Excellent. Because you guys have known each other a while.
Last year, which I already told him, so it's not a secret. I picked somebody who was relatively close to me on the leadership board, like halfway through the year, and I decided I wanted to kick his ass. And then he ended up starting to sell some high volume homes, so I had to work harder to hit that, and I didn't, but I got $18,000 away.
Good job. Here's what I want you to do if you are lucky enough to be chosen as an accountability partner for someone else. Be honest. Don't be too polite. Like, you need to hold their feet to the fire. You need to be honest about that. Like, I didn't make my calls today. Don't ever say that's okay. Say, well, that sucks for you. I really hope you can do better tomorrow. Next, please. What's one
Hey,
habit?
Justin,
Yeah, what's up, big guy?
hey, may I interact one piece? You're talking
Always.
about developing habits, and I'm just going to give you a little insight. I started this business based on expired listings, open houses, and for sale by owners. Guess what I did today? I mailed out over 25 flyers for expired listings, even after 18 years. Still doing what core beliefs got me to where I am, doing about what is it? Whatever it is, I'm not going to say it. And the funny part is, I think Justin hit the nail on the head when he said, "Build the habits now, and not just for 90 days. Do it
Right.
for 9 years. Do it for 18 years if you really want to get crazy." So I think I don't think you can emphasize that piece enough. Build the habits today that'll last with you throughout this career.
Yep. Start today. And if there's one piece of advice, thank you, John. If there's one piece of advice that I wish I had heeded, or, I mean, somebody had told me early on, was manage that database. I mean, those client management databases didn't exist really. I mean, there was one when we started. It was Top Producer, right?
Mhm.
I had no idea what it is. But whenever they started becoming more popular, I was already set in my ways and too busy to focus on it. And have, it's been a struggle for me since to get on top of working within a CRM intentionally. If there's one habit I wish for all of you, it's to adopt that CRM religiously and work on it. So pick one habit to start this week, whether that is daily maintenance of your CRM, which I encourage strongly, adding names, numbers, people, experiences to your CRM daily. And then what's one KPI? What's one metric that you can start tracking weekly?
Contact attempts.
Contact attempts,
Let's say touch points. Yeah.
touch points, interactions, experiences. If you go to Bolarama this Thursday night, you should come back and add those names in Friday morning and what your conversation was. What kind of dog do they have? Fifi. What is Fifi? A poodle. Does Fifi, did you learn Fifi's birthday? Add that stuff in there. Those are conversation points for the next time you reach out to Billy Bob. And then one accountability check-in with your accountability partner. So after we leave here, you're going to be on the phone like, oh my gosh, I am so stoked. Start adding names into my CRM. And I'm going to start calling people tomorrow. Great. Next Thursday, I'm going to call and we're going to compare notes. And you're going to do that, right? That's awesome. Closing thoughts, formatting matters. I did this in PowerPoint and it got converted to Google Sheets and the Y dropped. But plan intentionally, track consistently, and then this is a living document, right? Adjust and repeat. My goal for my first 5 years in the business was to grow my business by 25% every year. I never failed to exceed that. So if you see that you're on track by the end of the first quarter, it's okay to adjust that up. If you haven't hit that by the end of the first quarter, it's okay to increase the number of activities that you need to endeavor in to make that up in the second quarter. How much of your business, so this is a cyclical market, right? How much of your business should be accounted for in the first quarter?
A quarter.
20%. Because everybody's hung over for January. Things start picking up in February, right? How much of your business should be accounted for in the second quarter? 25, according to statistics. And then how much business should be accounted for in the third quarter?
40.
35. And then we're back down to 20 in the fourth quarter. Okay.
Mhm. I feel like I went to church.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Amen.
Amen.
It's very simple. And like I said, I mean, it's just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. It's very elementary when you break it down to a granular level. There's a million worksheets out there. I can give you these worksheets. You don't need the worksheets. I want you to experience. Go into your Chat GPT and start working on your business planning and your goal planning in there. Train your chat as your accountability partner. You can do that too. Is that an advanced step?